It's our round table of experts at the square table. Jeff Wilson is alongside in studio. Thank you, brother,
You got
for
it.
being here. Joining us via Zoom, of course, is our friend Melissa Triebwasser. Got a new background, too. That is California redwood, folks, in case you were wondering. That is not to be confused with that stuff down in Waco called shiplap. No, this is California redwood. So just so you know, Melissa, good to see you. Thanks for hopping on with
Hey,
us.
great to be here.
All right,
And
let's
hey, I'm
dive.
at a half a round table.
That's
So
right. You're at a half a round table. Okay, it's a half moon table. I like it. Yeah. All right, let's dive into a couple of different things. Let's start with football.
All right.
And let's start with Sam Jackson. You talked about him earlier in the week. I want to get Melissa's take on it. They've created this new package for him. They let him talk to the media now. You want to read anything into this? I mean, it's still a two-man race for the starting job, right?
It is, and I think that it's just a way to get a guy who's a really, really good athlete and can do a lot of things onto the field. I don't think it's going to be a regular thing, because you can only surprise the opponent so many times, He said that, the offense and defense talk about what they're going to do each day, and they mentioned this 2-quarterback package, and I guess the defense thought the play was going to be a halfback pass or
Right.
whatever, that Jackson was going to pass it, but he didn't. He took a pitch and ran for a first down, and then next play he caught a little pass and gained some yards too. So he's tremendously athletic, and maybe they're throwing him a bone, and it does look like the pecking order is going to be set at quarterback. He looks like he's third, but if you want to keep a guy happy, in the day of the portal, you got to recruit your own guys too. But if you're getting him on the field and if he feels like he's part of something, then maybe that helps too.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to, Melissa, what Sonny Dykes has talked about. Chess pieces, moving parts. People have to play different positions. The wide receivers got to play inside and out. All 5 guys along the offensive line have to be able to snap because you never know when you might be able to play center. This is just another case of really good players, got a skill set that can hurt teams. Got to get them on the field somehow, huh?
yeah, I mean, I think that you want to see your best players get the ball in their hands, no matter how they do it. When you have someone as athletic as Sam Jackson, and that can also, I mean, as Coach Bowden said earlier this week, if you guys are following Frogs today, you know that he can sling it. This is a kid that can really throw the ball too. So it just makes the defense have to think. You see a guy like that on, you don't know, is it going to be a fake pass? Is it going to be a trick play? Is he going to run? Is he going to catch? The fact that he can add all 3 of those things to the field, yeah, you want to get him on. And I agree with Jeff. You also want to keep a really talented player invested and involved in the program so that you don't lose him to the portal when you're going to have Max Duggan graduate a year from now.
Boy, I didn't think about that. That does come into play, don't you? You got to keep recruiting guys constantly while they're here. All right, Melissa, while I got you, I want to talk about your favorite position on the football field, and that's offensive line. A group that continues to work to build depth. We saw Steve Avila, I guess that was on Tuesday, get vocal after practice, guy who's really emerging as a leader.
It's amazing to watch what Steve has done. And he's always been a guy that you knew was going to take media availabilities. It was going to be someone that represented the program because of just the character that he has. And, obviously we're getting him on a podcast and getting to hear more from him. I mean, he is the kind of person that you need on the offensive line, that you need in your team, period, to be the leader, to be the vocal guy. And I love seeing him take more ownership of that and more responsibility too. You've got a lot of guys that have been around the program for a long time, but the offensive line has arguably been one of the weakest spots of this football team the last couple of years. And so to see him take ownership of that and to work alongside some of these other veterans, as well as some of these young guys that are stepping into big time roles, absolutely love to see it. I think it's a great sign going forward this season.
Yeah, Steve Avila, part of that My Turn podcast that you can hear here from Frogs today in Roxville Media House. You had some time with A.J. Ricker on Tuesday in the media room. Give us some insight. What do you have to say?
Well, he actually, when you talk about Steve being vocal, it's because Frogs didn't have a very good practice.
Right.
AJ called it their worst practice of camp so far. It's just one of those days, and they had to do some up downs afterwards that I'm glad I wasn't doing. But it's interesting. What Melissa said. You could argue that this unit wasn't very good the last couple of years. They're the unit that's been talked about as performing the best. And maybe it's because they're exceeding expectations that were set based off the last 2 seasons. But there are some veteran guys, and it's not, you can say, oh well, there's veterans, okay, great, but I mean it's guys who've played and guys who know what to do and can lead, and so I think it's just kind of come together, and Coach Ricker seems like a pretty intense dude, You know, my kind of guy. I like him. I think he probably throws around some 4-letter words, which is great. But you know, he pays attention to the details, and he just wants effort. You know, he's not trying to. You know, these guys are talented, but it needs to be the effort that comes out. Because if the effort comes out, then their talent will too.
Dadgummit is not a 4-letter word, Jeff
You're
Wilson.
right.
Melissa, I want to get into women's basketball with you in a second. While I got Jeff, though, because I got a whole list of stuff we got to get through. Baseball, real fast. That Globe Life tournament was announced. Looks like a pretty good field that the Frogs will be part of.
College baseball showdown next February.
Okay.
It's Oklahoma, Texas, TCU. They won't play each other because they're in the same conference.
Right.
But they will play Vanderbilt, you might have heard of, Missouri and Arkansas. So I mean, those are two really good teams, and Missouri's not bad. So that'll be good, a good test, a good way to start off your season.
Matt Carpenter.
Yeah.
What happened there? Broken foot?
He fouled the ball off his foot in Seattle. Broke his foot. He's going to miss some time. Boy, you know what a great story.
I know.
You know the Rangers screwed up and released him.
I'm glad you said that.
Thank you.
By the
way. And all he's done for one of the best teams in baseball is 15 home runs and 128 at bats.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is. He's gonna, you know, he's hitting over 300 right now. He said, you know, there's time. These little foot injuries though take a while.
I know.
Ozzie Albies from the Braves still hasn't come back. Chris Taylor from the Dodgers had one that cost him a couple months. And you know, if you look at the calendar, playoffs though. That could be a pretty handy piece if he's able to go.
That'd be a great story if he could and continue to be hot at the plate.
Right.
All right, women's basketball, real quick, Melissa. I know Coach Reagan Peeble got a big-time commit this week. Local product, too, right?
Yeah, Victoria Flores, 4-star, top 100 player coming out of Duncanville, where she played this last year after spending the first couple of years over at Dallas at Pinkston High School. This is the kind of player, you know, they had a lot of turnover this last year. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of high school kids that they had recruited and developed from high school. Getting somebody like Flores to come into that program, like you said, a local product, a highly regarded kid, had a ton of offers. It's a great sign for Reagan Peeble and just the program going forward. Super excited about this player. If you like Lauren Hurd, I think Victoria Flores has channeled a little bit of Lauren Hurd in her game. She's going to be dynamic. She's a scorer, 15 points, all state level player, all area level player. She's the kind of kid that can get this program on the right track and bring them back to where they were before COVID shut down that 2020 team that was so special.
We mentioned Brett Yormark was in town earlier in the week. Melissa, you're in California right now. Hey, any talk out there about Pac-12, Big 12 grouping up? What are they saying?
It's really funny to listen to how the Pac-12 has responded to all of this. I think that we saw George Kliakoff, you know, make his comments of, you know, stop kind of coming for my people. And I think that there is a lot of trepidation. They're talking, saying all the right things. They're coming across super confident, but at the end of the day, there's so much unknown. And that first TV deal was such a low ball offer compared to what I think the Pac-12 thought they would get. That there's some concerns out here. I'll be really interested now that we've seen this week that the Big Ten is not inviting ESPN to their broadcasting party. Is ESPN going to get different and up the level of contract for the Pac-12? Or are they going to sit and wait until the Big 12 has a chance to renegotiate and kind of dive in for that kind of money? Does that look more attractive to them long term? So I think that every week something else happens and it just raises more questions than answers. I would still say that the Pac-12 feels like it's in more of a precarious position right now, but it's a sliding scale and that could change tomorrow.
Yeah, I get the sense that we're kind of in that sort of calm period before the tornado. You know, that it might be happening sooner than later.
Well, you know, I did some research and then, I don't know if you call Googling research,
right.
You know, read some stories and it's like 5 different things are going on. You know, it's like now the Big Ten doesn't want Oregon, you know, and Washington and Stanford, you know, and Notre Dame's going to stay independent and Minnesota to the Big 12. And, you know, that which doesn't make sense. But, you know, there's just too much out there, and you're right. I'm sure that now that Yormark is officially on the job, it's been a little more than a week. I'm sure he did a lot of diligence beforehand, and I'm sure that when he makes these campus tours like he did with TCU, that he has answers to their questions.
I'll give you some scoop. You want some conference scoop, Melissa? You want some conference scoop? I'll give you some right now.
Love it. Absolutely.
UConn and UMass will become football-only members of Conference USA.
So what?
Just mark it down. I'm just telling you, it's going to happen. Soccer cranks up this coming week. Wisconsin's in town. Eric Bell's number 7 team. Then the following week, volleyball, right?
Yeah.
With Wisconsin in town.
Yeah,
But that'll be
national
Wisconsin's
champions.
volleyball team, not their soccer team, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, playing volleyball.
Yeah.
I got it. All right. So those two are cranking up. So we'll have all that for you and details on that. Melissa, always good to see your face. Thanks for joining us here.
Great to be here.
All right, Jeff. Thank you, brother.
Yep.
All right, that's it for the roundtable of